The digital landscape, particularly social media, has become the modern public square. It is an arena saturated with curated self-portraits, milestone announcements, and performative happiness. To not participate in this visual documentation, to maintain a profile rich in content but conspicuously devoid of one's own face, is an act of subtle defiance. For many men, this choice is not a technical oversight but a deliberate psychological stance. Why do some men choose to be the ghost in their own machine, the chronicler without a subject? To understand this phenomenon, we must look beyond surface-level explanations of privacy and delve into the deeper cognitive frameworks that guide their online behavior, many of which resonate profoundly with the ancient philosophy of Stoicism. The psychology of digital self-censorship. Why abstain from the self-portrait? The decision to withhold one's image online is a complex interplay of self-perception, social anxiety, and a calculated assessment of utility. It suggests a dissonance between the private self and the public persona that a readily available photo compromises. Fear of judgment and the external validation trap. The most common, though often surface-level, reason cited is a discomfort with self-scrutiny. Social media thrives on likes, comments, and shares, external metrics that quantify one's perceived value or attractiveness. Perfectionism and self-criticism. For men prone to perfectionism, posting a photo means inviting critique on appearance, attire, or context. This triggers the psychological concept of the spotlight effect, where an individual overestimates the degree to which others are noticing and evaluating their appearance. By not posting, they effectively turn the spotlight off. The hedonic treadmill of likes, the dopamine hit associated with positive reinforcement, is a powerful motivator for posting. A man who abstains may have recognized, consciously or intuitively, that this pursuit is an exhausting, never-ending cycle. He rejects the hedonic treadmill of social validation, viewing the ephemeral like as a poor substitute for genuine self-worth. Privacy, security, and professional guardrails. While often framed as simple, privacy settings, the decision to omit one's image often serves a more strategic, self-preserving function in the professional realm. Career longevity and consistency. Many professions, from academia to law, finance, or even specialized trades, value gravitas and discretion over digital visibility. A man opting out is perhaps making a pragmatic assessment. What is the tangible, positive ROI of sharing my likeness versus the potential liability? The lack of a personal photo prevents potential employers, colleagues, or clients from making snap, potentially biased judgments based on appearance or off-topic posts. Boundary setting. It's a powerful, nonverbal way to erect digital boundaries. It signals, my presence here is for information/connection/interest, not for personal aesthetic exhibition. This communicates a focus on content over self. The intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation divide. Fundamentally, the choice reflects where a man derives his sense of self, intrinsically, from within, or extrinsically, from external sources. Posting a photo is inherently an extrinsic act, a presentation for others. Abstaining is an intrinsic act, prioritizing a private, unmonitored existence. The Stoic framework: virtue, control, and apathy, apatheia. The mindset behind digital self-effacement finds a profound philosophical ally in Stoicism, the Hellenistic school of thought emphasizing virtue as the sole good and living in agreement with nature. Several core Stoic tenets directly inform this behavior. The dichotomy of control, focusing on what we can govern. The cornerstone of Stoic practice, articulated by Epictetus, is distinguishing between what is up to us, our judgments, intentions, desires, and what is not up to us, our reputation, health, external circumstances, and critically, how others perceive our photos. External reception is uncontrollable. A man cannot control whether his photo is viewed kindly, scornfully, or not at all. Worrying about the reception of his image falls squarely into the category of externals, matters outside his virtuous agency. The Stoic realizes that basing one's tranquility on such volatile external approval is irrational. Action over image, his focus shifts entirely to the internal work, his character, his intellectual pursuits, and his actions in the real world. His social media profile becomes a portfolio of thought or interest, not self-display. B. Prosoc, attention, and allocating mental energy. Stoic practice demands prosoc, a constant, vigilant attention to one's impressions and judgments. This mental energy is a finite resource. The cost of curation, creating, selecting, editing, and uploading a photo requires significant time and mental bandwidth. The Stoic questions, is this effort leading to virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, temperance? The rational assessment, if the action, posting a photo, does not directly serve a rational purpose or contribute to moral excellence, it is a waste of attention. A man practicing prosoc views the curation of his digital appearance as a distraction from the only truly important task, living virtuously now. C. Apatheia and indifference to indifference. While often mistranslated as mere apathy, Stoic apatheia means freedom from disturbing passions or irrational emotions. In this context, it implies a rational indifference to things that are adiaphora, indifference, things that are neither inherently good nor bad, such as reputation or physical appearance. Reputation as an indifferent, a man who understands this concept treats his online reputation, built or destroyed by his visible image, as an indifferent. He desires good repute only insofar as it allows him to perform his duties better, not as an end in itself. If his image is not required for his duty, its absence is irrelevant. Temperance in self-display, the constant public performance associated with posting selfies or curated life updates often violates the virtue of temperance, moderation. Abstaining is an exercise in self-restraint regarding exhibitionism. 3. The Stoic virtue of autarkia, self-sufficiency, and authenticity. The modern pressure to conform to the influencer aesthetic often demands a level of inauthenticity. The man who resists this pressure embodies the Stoic concept of autarkia, self-sufficiency or self-possession. A. The inner citadel, not needing external witness. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the inner citadel, the unassailable sanctuary of the mind that external events cannot breach. For the man avoiding posting his photo, this citadel remains fiercely guarded. Experience over documentation, he values the experience itself, the hike, the meaningful conversation, the acquired skill, over the documentation of the experience for an audience. He lives for the moment, not for the post about the moment. The absence of performative living, posting a photo often turns an activity into a performance. The man without a visible presence is signaling that his life is not structured around the needs of an imagined audience, it is structured around his own internal compass and duties. B. Wisdom and seeing things as they are, physis. Stoicism demands seeing the world stripped of opinion and bias, seeing things in their raw nature, physis. Deconstructing the selfie, a man committed to this clarity might view the act of taking and posting a highly curated photo as inherently deceptive. It is a manipulation of perception designed to elicit a specific, often positive, emotional response. Preference for substance, by remaining behind the scenes, he is prioritizing the substance of his connections and endeavors over the superficial packaging of his identity. His value lies in his character and actions, which can be demonstrated through text, shared ideas, or observable real-world impact, rather than a flattering angle. 4. Modern manifestations of Stoic practice in digital life. While the Stoics never worried about Instagram filters, their principles translate directly into contemporary digital discipline. A. Temperance in communication and consumption. The avoidance of personal posting is often paired with other forms of digital temperance. Low input, high output profile. Many men who avoid posting their photo maintain profiles that are low input, few personal updates, but high output, sharing articles, commenting thoughtfully, engaging in debates. This aligns with Stoic utility, use the tool for rational discourse, not self-aggrandizement. Consumption control, the same self-control that prevents them from posting prevents them from constantly consuming the highly filtered images of others, thus protecting their prosoc from envy or inadequacy. B. Courage in nonconformity. In a culture where visibility is often equated with success, choosing obscurity requires a subtle form of courage, one of the four cardinal virtues. Facing social pressure, it takes a degree of fortitude to withstand the implied pressure to prove one's life is interesting or successful through visual evidence. This is courage applied to the social sphere, resisting the herd mentality for the sake of internal consistency. The quiet life, laith bios, as echoing the advice often attributed to Epicurus, though embraced by Stoics as well in certain contexts, the desire to live unknown, laith bioses, translates perfectly to digital anonymity. The quiet life is one where one's virtues can be practiced without the fanfare that often corrupts the purity of the motive. The spectrum of digital self-concealment, not a monolith. It is crucial to recognize that this behavior exists on a spectrum, and not all reasons are purely Stoic. However, the Stoic framework explains the most durable and principled reasons for this choice. The enduring power of the unseen, a final meditation on digital sovereignty. The man who intentionally keeps his personal image off the primary display of social platforms is not merely practicing digital minimalism, he is enacting a philosophy of resistance. In an era where identity is frequently monetized, optimized, and projected for algorithmic reward, his silent profile stands as a monument to digital sovereignty. This refusal to participate in the economy of appearance is not born of deficiency but of a conscious, highly disciplined choice, a choice rooted in the ancient, unyielding wisdom of Stoicism. Beyond shyness, sovereignty through self-possession, autarkia. The most superficial assessment of this behavior labels it as shyness or insecurity. However, true introspection reveals a deeper, more active assertion, sovereignty. To control one's own image, to decide when, how, and if one is seen, is the ultimate act of digital self-mastery. By opting out of the constant visual performance, this man refuses to commodify his likeness for fleeting social capital. He denies the platforms the very data point that drives engagement, the easily consumable, instantly judged self-portrait. In this refusal, he retains ownership of his narrative, insisting that his value is derived from what he does and what he thinks, not how he looks in a professionally lit square. Virtue as the only currency. The Stoic framework transforms this digital decision from a preference into a moral imperative. The abstention becomes a practical application of virtue over appearance. If we accept that virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, temperance, is the only true good, then all external measurements, likes, follower counts, flattering angles, are mere indifference, adiaphora. True self-possession, autarkia, is not achieved by demonstrating an impressive exterior life, it is achieved by diligently cultivating an incorruptible interior life. The unseen profile signifies an internal ledger, the effort wasted on aesthetic curation is redirected toward rational self-improvement. He understands that the cultivation of character happens in the quiet, often unrecorded moments, the deep reading, the difficult conversation, the disciplined morning routine. These are the genuine acts of self-authorship, uncorrupted by the lens of the audience. Guarding the prosoche, the focus of attention. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius championed attention, prosoche, as the essential currency of a good life. Every distraction is a withdrawal from this fund. Posting content requires not only the act of publishing but the preceding mental effort of self-scrutiny, editing, and anticipating reaction. By remaining visually absent, the man practicing this discipline preserves his mental energy for meaningful engagement. He avoids the corrosive cycle of comparison and validation seeking that defines much of social media interaction. He remains indifferent to the ephemeral judgments of the digital crowd because he has already judged his own actions against the standard of his internal moral compass. He has determined that the fleeting pleasure of a like is a poor trade for sustained peace of mind. The choice, inner citadel over public stage. Ultimately, this choice is a profound philosophical positioning, the selection of the inner citadel over the public stage. The inner citadel, that sanctuary of the mind Marcus Aurelius described, is impregnable to external noise. The public stage, conversely, demands constant performance, exposing the self to the whims of fickle public opinion. When others seek approval through constant visibility, the man with the unseen profile finds freedom where others seek validation. His freedom lies in the knowledge that his reality is independent of his online perception. His profile may appear visually empty to the casual observer scanning for faces, but his intent, guided strictly by reason and self-respect, is profoundly full. He has chosen depth over breadth, substance over spectacle, ensuring that his most important project remains perpetually out of sight, diligently worked upon, and entirely his own.